guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my July wrap up and my August TBR. I had a really good reading month in July and I hope that I can continue that on in August. Okay, so the first book that I read in July was The Golden Lily by Rochelle Mead, and this is for our Muggle Studies book club read along for the Bloodline series. I absolutely loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. We do have a live show recorded on my channel that I'll leave linked down below. Hannah and I discuss our thoughts in detail on what we thought of The Golden Lily, so I definitely recommend going to watch that if you're curious of like what I truly thought of the book. But like a quick non-spoiler synopsis is that I absolutely loved it. Sydney has just such amazing character development and it just gets better and better as the books progress, and it's fantastic. I love Adrian, his sass, his snarky comments, the banter between him and Sydney are fantastic. I also love all of the other characters that I don't want to mention because I don't want to ruin. It's so hard with the Bloodline series because if you mention anything, it'll spoil the Vampire Academy series. So that's why I just want to be really cautious with it. If you enjoyed the Vampire Academy series and you haven't read the Bloodline series, I highly, highly recommend reading them. I was hesitant for so long and I'm so glad that I am reading them because they are phenomenal. Next, I read My Lady Jane by Cynthia Han, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. This was our Muggle Studies book pick for July, and I enjoyed it. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. We also have our live show where we go into a lot of spoiler details for My Lady Jane, which I will leave linked down below if you're interested in that. So this is a historical fiction based on the time of Henry VIII, and we are following Edward, who is Henry VIII's son. So we have 3 perspectives in this book. We have Edward's perspective, and he is the king, as I said, and he is dying. Then we have Jane, who is Edward's cousin, and because Edward is dying, he is trying to marry Jane off, and that brings us to our 3rd perspective, which is G, who is Jane's fiance. And it was a lot more fun than I was expecting. I loved the humor, the breaking of the 4th wall where like the authors talk to you. I love that. I love the historical fiction aspect of it. I thought it was so fun, and I really enjoyed Jane's character. I thought she was just so determined and headstrong, but she had such sass. She was just quite a well-rounded character. I enjoyed Edward's character as well, and I really enjoyed G's character. So all in all, it was a fantastic book. Also, there's a little bit of magic involved in this book. Next, I finally finished Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli, and I ended up giving this one as well a 4 out of 5 stars, but I'm unsure about my rating. So, couple things. I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, but I did enjoy it. I just had trouble connecting with Leah's character. A lot of people love Leah. They feel like her character is very real, and I don't disagree. Like, I enjoyed her humor. I did feel like she was a very real character, and she was very believable, but I just couldn't connect to her because I felt like she was really rude, she was mean, she was so disrespectful to her mother. Like, a lot of the times I agreed for what she stood for. There is a point in the book where there's like a racial component that, you know, comes up, and I agree with how Leah handled it. But I do have to say that it's Leah's character towards her mother and the way she treats her mom, and her mom tries so hard to like understand what Leah's going through, and especially, you know, she just, I didn't get anything but like trying and loving from her mom, and Leah just she wouldn't accept any of it, and she was just so rude and mean. So I don't know, that really put me off. But I enjoyed the story and the plot a lot. I enjoyed all of the characters, and I enjoyed seeing the characters that we were introduced to in Simon. So that's why I want to give it a 4, because, you know, Leah's character, she does have great character development, so that's why I ended up giving it a 4, because I did feel like she grew as a character. Anyways, that's my little tangent on Leah on the Offbeat. I did enjoy it. I do recommend it. Let me know if you connected with Leah, or let me know if you had issues connecting with Leah like I did. The next book that I read in July was The Indigo Spell by Rochelle Mead. Now this is the third book in the Bloodline series. I was supposed to read this in August because it is the book that we were reading in August for our read along, but I already finished it. I read it. I started the audiobook on the 30th and I finished it yesterday before August. So I guess I'm gonna count it for July, even though technically it was a August TBR, and I loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I listened to it on audiobook, like I said, and I loved it so much that I ordered it. My physical copy should be coming in hopefully in the next couple of days. This is definitely a book that I am going to reread for sure. So far, like, the books are just getting better and better. Like, when I read Bloodlines, I really enjoyed it. Then when I read the Golden Lily, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best one in the series. Now I read the Indigo Spell, I'm like, oh, this is the best one in the series. So I'm really excited to see where the next one goes. What I loved about the Indigo Spell is that we start with just action. There's a lot more action in this book compared to the other two. So in Vampire Academy, there's a lot of action. There's a lot of like fighting scenes with like Dampier and Strigoi, and you know, you just really have like you're inside Rose's head and perspective, and she's just such a badass female character, so you're getting a lot of like action and chaos. And in Bloodlines, the chaos and action is like a lot more like scientific because we're following Sydney's point of view, who's an alchemist. But in the Indigo Spell, we had a lot more like suspense and anticipation, and just the book starts with like a conflict right away, and I really loved it. And I wasn't expecting, like, there were things that happened in this book that I had no idea. Like, I can't even predict where these books are going, which is what I love so much. So yes, I'm really excited. Love Sydney's character development. I love Adrian. I love all the other characters, and yeah, I'm really, really excited to start The Fiery Heart. So we'll see if I can hold off until September because I want to read it now. The next book that I read in July was Saga Volume 7 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I actually thought that I had already read this book, and I wanted to read a graphic novel for the Booktubeathon, and I started Saga Volume 8, and I realized that I had no idea what was going on. I was so lost. So then I went back and I looked at Saga Volume 7, and I realized I actually hadn't read it. I don't know why I marked it as read on Goodreads, but I went ahead and I read Saga, and I loved it. It's great. I love the illustrations. I love where the story is going. It's just, there's so much going on. It's very intricate, and yeah, I loved it. So after I finished Saga Volume 7, I went ahead and wanted to read Saga Volume 8, and I did, and I really, really enjoyed it. So once again, 5 out of 5 stars, and now I believe I am caught up with all of the Saga volumes. Okay, so now let's jump into my August TBR. The first book that I want to read in August / already did is Vampire Night by Matsuri Hino. Sorry, I know, I'm so sorry. I know I'm butchering that. This is the first time that I've ever read a manga, and I really enjoyed it. I was a little confused at first with like the writing style, because I know you're supposed to read it right to left, and I was reading it right to left page-wise, but not word-wise. So at the very beginning, I was really confused because I would go to the right page and then I would read left to right, and I was confused until I realized not only are you actually reading the pages right to left, you're reading the words right to left. So I was really confused in the very beginning of that, but I figured it out. So this story is set at an academy called Cross Academy, and there are 2 different types of students, the day students and the night students. And what is interesting about the night students is that they are vampires. And then we have 2 characters named Zero and Yuki, and they are the guardians, and they kind of help shuffle the transition between school time. So when we transition from day to night classes and night to day classes, and just really interesting stuff happens that I was not expecting, and yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So 4 out of 5 stars, and I am definitely going to continue on. I also watched the Netflix version of it and I enjoyed it, but the manga is way better. The next book that I plan on reading in August is A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro. This is our Muggle Studies book pick for August. We don't have a live show date yet, but we will keep you posted on Goodreads and on Twitter and YouTube once we find out a date later on in August. I'm really excited about this book. It is a Sherlock Holmes retelling. So we follow our main character Charlotte, and she is the great granddaughter of Sherlock Holmes, and this is set in Sherringford, Connecticut, and then a bunch of murders happen at a prep school, and it is up to Jamie, who is Watson, and Charlotte to figure out what is going on. The next book that I really want to read in August is Heart of Iron by Ashley Poston. I've already started it. I'm currently on page like 40, and so far I'm really enjoying it. So in this story we follow our main character Anna, and Anna has an illegal android named D09, and D09 is glitching, and so she is on a mission to find these coordinates to a lost, I don't know if it's a lost ship or a lost planet, but she needs these coordinates to go find some sort of, I don't know if it's like a hard drive or something so that she can fix her android from glitching. So far, I am really enjoying it, and I just need to sit down and get further into the story and kind of figure out what's going on. But so far, it's enjoyable. All right, guys, well, that is it for my July wrap up and my August TBR. Let me know down below what you are reading in August and what you read in July. And let me know if you're participating in the BookTubeathon. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!